Go.
Uh, Yeah. Hi guys, welcome to the Corner Taken Weekly podcast. Here I am Srinath. This time not alone. I've got company. So Nikhil, how was your game week 31?
Game week was good, this decent, lots of green arrows, but happy but still
Mm-hmm.
not satisfied because I had 15 points on the bench. It could have gotten more ahead.
Yes. Same with me, dude. I had
15,
14
I got
points of
28 points on the bench.
uh, not even 15. You've got exactly. So that's from your existing midfielders and attackers.
Yes.
But same was the case with me, dude. I had Shaw on the bench, apparently who scored just 1 point, but Lingard and Watkins scored 13 and 8 points respectively. So that was quite a bummer. Even I was having 22 or 23 points on the bench, which is again not the best thing,
Yeah.
but you have to take those things in your stride. Hopefully, like in the future, we don't make that error in the future. But yeah, um, hopefully we can cover that up. Even I happen to score around 60 points.
Yeah.
That was pretty much a good result for me. But yeah, again, thinking that just moving from 150k to 128k, once you are in the top 100 150k, then the margins are really short and tight. So even a decent sort of a game week won't bring you that many green arrows, since you must be knowing about that.
Yeah.
I'm experiencing the surge only the first or the second time in my FPL career. But in the future game weeks, hopefully I can cover and get back to somewhere around a 50k or a 40k. That's what my aim was in the beginning of the season. But hopefully I can get there. What I've seen is that the gap between the 100k and the top 25k isn't that much. It's just around 40 to 45 points, which surely in the next few game weeks, if I perform well, I can cover those up. But
Yeah.
again, totally depends upon the strategy that I use and the kind of chips that already other people have, and the possibility of whether they play their chips well or not. All those things would be dependent upon that. But let's see, dude. Hopefully,
True.
hoping for the best. So, guys, this is a totally different format. Sorry for the delay with the introduction. I'm sure I bored the fuck out of you in the given 4 minutes of the video. But now moving to the content part, this time around we have a different sort of a theme to the video. We are doing a buy, sell, keep, and hold uh, video, which basically states, because again the team selection won't be that much different, pretty much, since most of us have used their wildcard, and there's no need to repeat the teams that we are playing. It's just about the transfers that you need to make in. So yeah, for the transfers, we are just making the video for buy, sell, keep, hold, and avoid. Then hopefully this video is of use. I can You can put to use this content to make your team bring your team into a better shape. So Nikhil, with the first player that we start off with the buys. Uh, First buy would be again Heung-min Son, who's apparently having a double game week, who is playing Everton and Southampton in the next two game weeks. And Everton's defenses hasn't that good as people actually think. Isn't that bad that they'll end up conceding 4 or 5 goals, but
They'll
it
concede.
isn't that
Yeah.
good that Kane won't be able to score or something. Kane
Yeah.
or Son won't be able to score or something. Since I've not included Kane in this video because
Done.
केन नहीं केन सॉन्स रुक जा So again, we are not talking about Kane because he is already having an ownership of around 50%, and plus most of the FPL managers would be captaining him, making his effective ownership somewhere around 100 to 120%. So there's no point in speaking about Kane. But again, yeah, Son is another player who has been transferred out by many of the FPL managers in the recent past, and maybe it's just time to bring him in for at least a game week, because the next game week for him is pretty much a blank game week because of the EFL Cup final, and his fixtures post even game week 34 is quite good, because they are facing Sheffield United, Leeds, Wolves, and Aston Villa before they end up facing Leicester. So this is quite a good fixture run, and I presume that most of these teams, especially teams like Leeds, Wolves, Aston Villa maybe would be eyeing up for the European spots, but apart from them, most of these teams would be going into their holiday period at the end of the season, and won't be as like intense in their performances, which was pretty much showed up by the previous game week, where they happened to concede 3 goals, and Spurs are a team who are again eyeing up a top spot. They are at 49 points at this point, and the top four would be somewhere around 55,
52,
56.
52,
West Ham.
52.
Yeah, exactly.
55,
So
52.
yeah, so exactly. So these sort of points means that Spurs still have an opportunity of going into the top four, and Mourinho still has something to prove in his Spurs management career. So yeah, that is the reason why Spurs cannot be written off as a bogey team, or a team which just will go on to the holiday period. They'll fight till the last very moment to have those one of those top four spots. Maybe West Ham and Leicester may be dropping more points. That's what Spurs would hope. But I presume that Spurs would be playing with the strongest teams, and Kane and Son would be playing in most of the matches. Nikhil, what is your thought about it?
In my opinion, Son is a must-have until the end of the season because no matter who plays, Son and Kane are almost like Mourinho's babies in the current team. So they both will definitely play. So I don't. If you are having Kane, then well and good. But if you don't have Kane, then definitely you have to get Son. That's my opinion.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. But
Yeah,
in the recent game week, Son has just proved out to be an assister rather than a goal scorer. So
yeah.
that is one thing that to be eyed upon. And then, chalo, this was it about Heung-min Son. The next player that we'll be going for is Lucas Moura. Lucas Moura is again just owned by what 2.3% of the managers, and he has been starting pretty much every game week in the past few matches. Nikhil, if you can go to the history and search for the number
Yeah,
of minutes that he played in the recent past. So again, as you
81.
can see in the screen, he has played 81 against Manchester United, 63, 90 against Aston Villa, 90 against Arsenal, 90 against Crystal Palace. So all these matches, plus they don't have any European commitment. So it's a big possibility that Lucas Moura would be starting in most of the matches. And if the assists are not provided by Son, then they are invariably provided by Lucas Moura. So that's again a point that you can consider. Fixtures are pretty much the same as that of Son. As we mentioned, they are playing Everton, Southampton. Then there's a blank game week. Then Sheffield United, Leeds, Wolves, and Aston Villa. So again, Lucas Moura is a pretty good option. Plus, he has a better influence and creativity than compared to Heung-min Son, and he can prove out to be a very big differential. And plus, he's beneficial even on the price. Lucas Moura costs somewhere around 6.6 million, if I'm not wrong. And my screen is a bit this thing. not able to see, but what is his price?
6.6,
6.6 million,
6.6.
right?
Yeah.
So you can save in on a few money in the matches. So yeah. So again, Heung-min Son is if you are not getting in Heung-min Son or want a third Spurs player, then Lucas Moura is one of.
Yeah, true.
Nikhil, what's yeah,
Yeah, because I was thinking about Mora also because he has been starting consistently since game week 23
yeah,
against from the West Ham game. So I think he has gained Mourinho's trust again. So I hope that he's starting again. And I think he'll start again.
yeah.
So at least he'll play plus more than 60 minutes. So worth taking. Not a risk exactly, but Mora is a good option.
Yeah, as compared to Son, if managers are going for Lucas Moura instead of Son, then
Yeah,
that's a pretty good differential actually.
yeah.
So yeah,
Just
for the managers
2.3%
who are looking
ownership.
for a quick, exactly, for managers who are looking for quick rise in the ranks, Lucas Moura is the man for you. Then next buy would be Mason Greenwood of Manchester United. Nikhil, if you can please open
Yeah.
the. So again, the reason why I chose Mason Greenwood in the previous match was simply because of the fact that Martial is injured and Cavani is prone to rotation. He'll not start each and every match in the Premier League simply because he's not fit or the age is catching up with him, that, if you can call that. Then along with that, even if Cavani starts, Greenwood has an option of starting on from the right, which is even better because he can provide a few assists to Cavani. Then and another point to be noted is that even Dan James has a little bit of niggle, maybe an ankle niggle or something, which might just leave the right hand side open unless or until United shift back to a 4-3-1-2, which they did in the middle part of the season. Then there's a big possibility that maybe Greenwood might be dropped. But apart from that, I don't see any reason why he won't be starting. And plus, we have had this history with Greenwood that he finishes season pretty well. Last term around, he did bring us FPL managers, me especially, with a lot of positive returns. So
Yeah.
Greenwood is another option that you can look in. Plus, his fixtures are quite decent enough. He's playing Burnley, then Leeds, then a couple of difficult fixtures in Liverpool and Leicester. Then there's
Even
Aston
when,
Villa, Fulham, and
yeah.
Wolves. So out of these fixtures, maybe Burnley would be again. If you are planning to bring in Greenwood, please do bring him this game week. Otherwise, you won't be able to reap the benefits of having him because again, Leeds are a team who are prone to conceding since they were playing with 10 men. Hence, they parked the bus against City. But apart from that, I don't see any reason as to why Leeds won't be attacking in the future. So again, I presume that Leeds would be attacking and going all gung ho with their attack. So yeah, but post Leeds match, if you're bringing him on the Leeds at the Leeds game, then again you will be having only Leeds to benefit from. Then there's Liverpool, Aston Villa, and Leicester, which are technically speaking to be not that easiest of the fixtures. Even all these teams have something to play either in Europe or either in Europe or maintaining those Europa League spots. So again, you have to be very careful then bringing him in. But if speaking for game week 32 per se, then yeah, Greenwood is a pretty good option.
Yeah, true. Because I think if they don't get him in now, Burnley and Leeds, those are the like even if you keep him for 2 weeks, the owners could rise a lot. And Liverpool do tend to concede, but Aston Villa has a decent defense. So does Leicester. And then Fulham and Wolverhampton. So they can bench him for these 3 game weeks if they want and bring him, start him in the team after that. But he has to be
Yeah,
bought in right now, otherwise, no, otherwise don't, in my
yeah,
opinion.
precisely. Because even Liverpool are have started to keep clean sheets. They have
Yeah,
had 3 wins on the trot. So again, with Liverpool, again it's a quality side. No matter what they won, they are the reigning champions at this moment, and you never can take them lightly. And
yeah,
especially in the Manchester United Liverpool matches, you never expect anything but a nil-nil draw most of the times,
yeah.
especially with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, that's one thing that you can consider. But moving on, then next player is Rob Holding of Arsenal. Um, yeah, yeah, second one. Yeah, Rob Holding of Arsenal again cost what 4.2 or 4.4 million at this moment. If you can, yeah, 4.2 million, and his ownership is again
Foam.
4%, which is quite meager again. Um, so yeah, so this again 4% ownership, and he did start in the last 2 game weeks, so I bought him on in the wildcard team, and he gave me 8 points, and he has a decent run of fixtures. If you can just open the fixtures, he's facing perhaps Fulham, then Burnley, perhaps. Yeah, yeah.
Fulham, Everton,
So he's
Newcastle.
facing Fulham, then Everton, then Newcastle, then West Brom, then Chelsea, then Crystal Palace, and then Brighton. So even the Everton match, Everton haven't been doing that well attacking wise. What do you think, Nikhil, of their fixtures?
Think he could be a good bet because Fulham don't score much. Everton are creating less chances, or rather converting a very few portion of the chances. Newcastle are blunt. West Bromwich is a tight, difficult game because West Bromwich are somehow starting to score again, and I don't believe how. I don't get how. And then Chelsea is a tough nut. So 4 out of the next 5 game weeks are decent. Like he will
Yeah,
keep clean sheets most probably.
yeah, exactly. And plus, it's a for answering your question, why West Brom are scoring? It's a Sam Allardyce team, dude. Come the end of the season, they'll be going 7 or 8 goals a match. You never know with West Brom.
Yeah, 5-2.
Yeah, I thought that it was an aberration, but again, even against Southampton, it was shown that
They
teams
can
are
score.
already, yeah, exactly. But teams who are already secure of their place in the Premiership, and the players who are actually teams who are actually not eyeing for a Europa League spot, then again, it's an easy sale. They'll be starting off with few of their youngsters, which is pretty much the case with Newcastle. Newcastle may be looking would be in the dog race for relegation, but West Brom, then Brighton, then Crystal Palace, all these teams would be pretty much in the holiday period. So again,
Yeah.
an option, very good opportunity for them. With Arsenal, again, you consider that they should be going for a Europa League spot, but again, given the position, it's again you can't say anything with them. But hopefully they'll be looking for them. That's why I feel that Rob Holding would be playing. So yeah. So guys, the buys are over. It'll be quite a longish sort of a video. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves. But yeah, the next one would be hold. Hold would be Edward Mendy of Chelsea. Considering the fact that Mendy again, they against Crystal Palace, they ended up conceding just one shot on target, which was a goal. So on any other given day, they'll be again keeping clean sheets, you have to keep faith in them. But players who are actually planning to bring managers who are actually planning to bring him in, then I still would have doubts. People who bought him in for game week 30 or 31, then do keep hold of him. But if you're planning to bringing him in, then it's quite a tricky run, because uh, post these couple of good matches against Brighton, and after Brighton, West Ham and Fulham, they'll be facing Man City, Arsenal, then Leicester, then ending up with Aston Villa. So again, these are not great run of fixtures. Again, till Fulham, you can consider that they have decent run of fixtures, but post that it's not. So if you're planning to bring him in, then don't. But if you're planning to holding him, please keep faith in him, because Chelsea would be keeping clean sheets. It's again a case of what actual points that he got suggests and what was his actual performance. His performances were good, but he's not Martinez level that he'll bring you in with 4 or 5 saves each game and get you 2 points for saves. That's one thing against. That's one thing that Emi Martinez would be having, and if you're having him, then don't please shift on to Mendy instead of Martinez, because Aston Villa would be having decent run of fixtures post post these two couple of matches. Aston Villa would be having West Brom and Everton post that, post Man City. So it's again, yeah, precisely just what I said. They'll be having West Brom, Everton, and a potential game, a double game week against Southampton, which has to be rescheduled. Sorry, Everton, I beg your pardon. So, which has to be rescheduled again. So, it's one thing that you consider Martinez, keeping him rather than bringing Mendy instead of him. So, our next hold would be Aspilicueta. Again, the same case. Um, the fixtures are pretty much the same, and the reason why Crystal Palace scored one shot on goal, again that ended up being a goal, and they have similar run of fixtures. So pretty much whatever I said for Mendy applies for Aspi as well. Again, he has the surety of starting, but won't be getting your attacking returns. So that's one thing that you do have to consider. So yeah, that was it about Aspi. But then next hold would be Bruno Fernandes. If you can, Nikhil, if you can please open the, yeah. So of course, many of the FPL managers actually removed Bruno Fernandes from their wildcard teams, taking that punt, and his performance haven't been looking that good, especially suggesting with the influence 1 out of 282 and creativity is in that great. Plus, but the reason why I'm suggesting that you should keep a hold on to him, because Manchester United get a hell lot of penalties, and once you once you have him, then you may end up having 10 points or 12 points just because of his penalties. So again, with the fixtures, again they have, as mentioned, for Mason Greenwood, they have Burnley, then Leeds, then they'll be ending up with Fulham and Wolves, which is again, these are very good run of fixtures, except for Liverpool and Leicester and Aston Villa maybe. Uh, Fernandes has each and every chances of scoring against any of these opponents.
I
So yeah,
think he has a
that
chance
is
of
that is the
scoring in every game week because United will get the penalty.
Yeah, exactly. So that's exactly my point. And if like in the previous seasons, there used to be a thing where if you are unsure about any captain, then you can captain Mo Salah. For this season, it has been Mo Salah and Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
So again, Mo Salah hasn't performed that well in the second half of the season for given reasons, but his first half of the season was very good, and he has scored 18 goals, and still pretty much first or the second in the Golden Boot race. So again, Bruno Fernandes is again a very good option, and if you are in doubt, you have your rights to captain him in any given game because he might end up scoring a penalty for you. Yeah. So our next, so that was it for the hold, guys. Next would be sell. This first sell would be Cancelo of Man City. Yeah. So the main reason why I said that Cancelo shouldn't be kept in the team because simply because he's not been creating that many amount of chances, and he has not been starting, which is applying to pretty much each and every City defenders. And you are well within your right to sell each and every City defenders, and for that matter, each and every City player, because none of them are sure shot of starting any of the game weeks. Yes, except for the goalkeeper Ederson, most of the players are prone to rotation. Nikhil, what are your thoughts on him?
So I think it's a good time to sell Cancelo because one, rotation risk, and he has been diminishing. His returns have been diminishing slowly and steadily. So I don't think there's a point of keeping in right now. And there are many other defenders who are priced lower than him and are providing better returns. So I think it's the right time to sell Cancelo as well.
So yeah, guys, that was it for Cancelo. The next sell would be Neto. Neto, we have got this news that he'll be out for the rest of the season, and mainly other reason why it is better to give up on Wolves players because of the fact that they are pretty much secure of the Premiership position again, and even though they have good run of fixtures, they won't be going all gung ho with any of the relegation battle or anything. So again, Neto is a short sell for me. And if you want to sell Neto, then bring in some player instead of him. I know many of the FPL managers bought him in for the wild card, and it sucks. It truly sucks to have your player injured post your wild card. Uh, Post just your wild card, Nikhil, you would be experiencing that pretty much, and you had many of the players getting injured here and there. That's what screwed up your FPL season. But you can say that again. Neto again, managers who bought him in are truly unlucky with
Yeah.
their selection. But you have some direct replacements in the form of Jared Bowen or Madison, who has been returning to fitness. Then your legend Jesse Lingard, the man has been the man has been just shooting the balls on goal, and they have been somewhere entering. So
Lingardinho.
that's yeah, I'll say rather than Lingardinho, I'd say he's not Jesse Lingard, he's Messi Lingard. Um, because of the fact that he's truly outperforming his XGs, so which is truly amazing, man. I know he's a decent player, but to be consistently doing that is it's again amazing. So
Yeah.
hopefully someone like Real Madrid pays 150 million euros or something like that for him and gets him in, and
Transfer of the
then he
millennium.
again, yeah, exactly, dude. He's worth that. He's worth that. But jokes apart, again, Neto is again a player who is injured and pretty much out for the rest of the season. So it's safe to sell him. Then next would be James Ward-Prowse. Again, the same reason. Southampton, although they have decent run of fixtures, but there's no point in keeping him because again they are playing after Liverpool. They have decent run of fixtures, and Fulham, Crystal Palace is again due to be scheduled, and Leeds again, which can end up having points. But for me, James Ward-Prowse isn't a great option simply because Southampton would be experimenting with few youngsters here and there. So, Nikhil, what are your thoughts on him?
think it's the right time to sell because Southampton have a difficult run of fixtures. Plus, uh, they are practically safe, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they'll
So
be
I,
going on for the holiday period.
yeah, so I don't
So
think they'll return much.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Plus,
So
all the
that
teams
was
they
it
are
for
playing for something. Tottenham, Leicester, Liverpool, Fulham, even West Ham. Only
yeah,
Crystal
exactly,
Palace
bro.
and
Exactly.
Leeds are somewhat safe, like in their holiday
Yeah,
period as
yeah,
well. But rest, everyone is playing for something. So I think
yeah,
Southampton
exactly.
will get battered at some point.
Yeah, and they are prone to conceding a hell of a lot
Yeah,
of goals. Not so that again gives off your 1 point extra for your. But
yeah,
again, even their attacking, for that matter, each and every Southampton has had many of your Ings, your Che Adams, your Bednarek, or Kyle Walker Peters. Most of your defenders aren't that great an option now because they are
yeah.
prone to conceding. Their defense isn't that good. Their attack is blunt. So yeah, that's pretty much the reason why. So yeah, guys, that was it for the cells. Now we are going to avoid the avoids category. The first one would be Legend Dallas. He has scored 10 returns, dude. Being a defender, he has had 10 returns in the past few the right from the first game week, and he has been the most returning defender in FPL. But if you look at his fixtures, fixtures say read a totally different story. Liverpool, Manchester United, Brighton, who are not prone to conceding that many goals. Then there's Tottenham. Then post game week 36, they have decent run of fixtures. But again, as I said, for Southampton, the same applies for Leeds as well. They'll be going on for their holiday period. No matter how well they do, they won't be having those European spots up for grabs. And yeah, that's pretty much the reason why. And if you're planning to bring him in, then that's totally a knee-jerk reaction to what he did. It's again from the expected goals tally. Somewhere I read was somewhere again even against Man City, he was just expected to score 5 points with the given number of chances and the kind of positions that he was in. So again, 17 is an again aberration. If you're planning to bring him in, then you're not expecting to have returns from him in at least the next 4 or 5 game weeks. Still, they play Burnley, Southampton, or West Brom. So that's the reason why Dallas isn't that great an option. If you're having him, then please hold on to him, since if a player has scored 17 points for you, there's no reason to sell him on. But to bring him in is quite a risky. Nikhil?
Yeah, the same reason because to bring him in now, as you said, a knee-jerk reaction. That's all, in my opinion. And Liverpool, United, Brighton, Tottenham. Even Burnley don't concede much. So
Yeah,
the only two games I see him scoring Southampton, West Brom, and maybe one of the other five in a freak show. But that's about it.
yeah, yeah. You were pretty much right about that. So our next avoid would be Marcos Alonso of Chelsea. Um, so the main reason why I don't want someone like an Alonso in my team is simply because of the fact that he just doesn't start. He's not in the first team plans of Thomas Tuchel. Uh, because he hasn't been starting those matches, and he has just what he has had 90 minutes against West Brom and Everton, and just in most of the matches he Tuchel doesn't even bring him on as a sub. So if you have him, it's fine. You can get him sub, but there's no risk. There's no point in keeping him even for from my opinion, simply because he just doesn't start that many games. So Nikhil, what's your take on it?
Yeah, as the fixtures show, like he hasn't started in games that Chelsea has performed well also. So I don't think
Yeah,
Tuchel will have any motivation to start him as well. There's no point
Yeah.
in
But
buying him.
if
If
you're
he's there,
planning for a risky sort of a move, then it's quite a good move, because if you think that he'll definitely start, then it's a very good move, because he is in those positions.
at
Even in one
only
of the matches where he
2.9%.
actually started, yeah, and he's just owned by 2.9%. And one of the matches that he started, I thought that he's actually playing in the position of Werner. He's taking those shots, taking
Yeah,
those hits, which even Werner isn't doing. So, but apart from that, just because of the fact that he doesn't start, and the fixtures take a turn for the tough, I suppose that it isn't a great move. Since as you can see, post Fulham, they'll be facing Man City, then Arsenal, then Leicester, and Aston Villa. All of them have something or the other. Man City, maybe you can say that they can concede because of the fact that they would be going on to the holiday period, just because they have just wrapped up the league. They just need 3 or 4 wins from the next 8 matches. So that is pretty much the reason. But apart from that, no, Lonzo isn't a great option to bring him in at this moment. But if you have him, then you can keep him. Try and look. If you have a good sub, then you can keep him. But otherwise, even selling him isn't that bad.
to fair point.
And the last, yeah, and the last avoid would be Matthias Pereira of West Bromwich Albion. Yeah. So he's what had 21 points, then a 9 pointer against Chelsea and Southampton. But again, I feel it's just again an aberration, dude. West Brom, although I jokingly said about what Sam Allardyce can do with his team, but no matter what, it's West Brom, dude. They are in the relegation spot, and they haven't done that much to garner that much of attention in the next few game weeks. Plus their run of fixtures. If you can open the fixture list, I'm not sure what they are facing.
All tough.
Yeah, so yeah, these are tough run of fixtures, dude, till the end of the season. They're facing Leicester, then Aston Villa, then Wolves, maybe easier of the lot. But apart from that, Arsenal, Liverpool, West Ham, all of these teams have something or the other, except for Wolves again, but something or the other going on. Either the Europa League spot, or Champions League spot, or relegation battle cannot be said, because none of these teams face one. But apart from that, most of these teams do have something or the other to play for in Premier League.
Yeah,
So yeah,
same.
that's the reason why Matthias Pereira shouldn't be considered that great an option. But again, if you're planning to take a punt on him, then that's a very good move, 3.1% again. But I don't think it's worth the risk, and you have many good midfielders apart from Pereira at his price range to bring him in, like Rafinha, or someone like even Jesse Lingard or a Gerard Bowen. They are much better options than Matthias.
Your voice went.
Yeah, I'm audible now. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm done with Nikhil. What do you feel about Matthias Pereira?
There's no point bringing him in because, as you said, it was just a freak show, like the last two game weeks. I don't think
Exactly.
he'll do the same thing against Leicester, Aston Villa, maybe against Wolves, but it's the Midlands derby, so I don't think that'll happen again. Then Arsenal, Liverpool, West Ham, and Leeds. Probably Leeds, but other than that, I don't see him getting points.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much the reason why. So that was it, guys. Quite a long video. Hope you guys liked it, and please do leave us a like at the end of the video. We've just noticed that we've gotten 50 views, not much, but again, 5 likes for it isn't that great. So please do go and give it a like. That can garner few of the views for in the YouTube algorithm. So thank you guys for tuning in, and
Thank you guys.
thank you Nikhil for joining in. And yeah, I hope you have a great game week,
You too, man.
and all the
And
best.
everyone else.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.